it was tough for that to happen. And I'm just there like, oh boy, this is what's happening, is it? Okay. It was rough. What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I thought I'd sit down and do a video just recapping the last two tournaments that I've played and just gonna go through them with you, how they went, and also in doing so go through what's kind of been happening in my disc golf game at the moment, what I've been struggling with, how I've been struggling, and just talk you through what's been going on. And hopefully through watching this, some of you might be able to relate to it, and hopefully you might have some suggestions for me as well as to things that I can do to improve and get through this little bit of a slump that I found myself in. So without further ado, let's get into it. In March, I travelled out to Toowoomba for the Garden City Open. This is always one of my favourite tournaments to go to. It's beautiful in Toowoomba, it's fun to go out and travel and stay there the night before and then go play the next day. So it took place on a Sunday, 2 rounds in the one day. This is my third time going to the Garden City Open and I always love it. This year it was actually at a different venue because there were some things going on at the other venue. So I was at a temporary course in this big kind of sports complex area that had, it was beautiful. Let's just say that the course was amazing. It was so nice and it had unique challenges, lots of elevation, side slopes, teeing off from elevated green, elevated tee pads, and yeah, really fun course and also very long as well compared to a lot of the ones that we're used to playing. So it was really a unique challenge and one that I really enjoyed. However, I wasn't able to practice the course before the tournament day. I was literally going in Sunday, seeing the course for the first time, playing the course blind. And what was funny was at the very start of the day when we rolled in, it was completely covered in, like, I guess it was cloud, fog, mist, and you literally were blind. Like you couldn't see, you know, more than 50 meters in front of you, which was just crazy. Literally didn't see any of the holes except for the first one that I was on, able to throw a couple of shots on that before we started, and then it was just, you know, let's get into it.
Oh, get up. Oh,
Get a skip.
skip.
Oh, such a good skip too.
CTP.
Started off really well in round one, got a really good birdie on hole 1. I think I was 2 down through 4, I was playing clean. And then it kind of just slowed down a little bit and I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it was just not confident, especially on the putting green. It started to show a little bit in round 1. And I just kind of had a bit of a slow round. I think I finished maybe 1 over par for that round, so I got, you know, a handful of birdies and just a handful of bogeys as well, just from silly things. But I think overall I was going pretty well, and I was only maybe 1 or 2 strokes off the lead at that point after round 1. We then jumped into round 2, and I had awesome cards both rounds, I should say that. I made it 2 out of 2 lead cards with Michael for tournaments this year, so hoping to keep that streak going.
That's money. That's so far. So good. Back in the pocket. Here's one. Good job, thank you.
Thanks. I started the round, I think after the first 2 holes, I think I'd gotten back to being like 1 stroke in the lead potentially. Able to sort of make a birdie and got back to I think a 1 stroke lead, so that was great. Very next hole then though, I took a bogey from a silly tee shot, and I don't know if it was from that moment on, but for the rest of the round things just kind of weren't clicking and they started to slowly fall apart. Body probably a little bit fatigued. I didn't, you know, have the best preparation coming into the event, but I just couldn't get things going. And the thing that really struggled the most and shook me the most was my putting. It's so frustrating, and you guys can probably all relate to this, but especially at the end of last season, my putting was absolutely on, and eventually you'll see the gatekeepers coverage of the putting champs at the Australian champs last year, but putting was just going so well and it was feeling great. And I guess I hadn't been sort of touching on it too much and just sort of touching base with it, but something in the second round of the Garden City Open just fell apart, and I was missing like simple tap in length putts and just like pulling them right, barely hitting chains, clanking it low. Like it was frustrating. And I think that kind of really shook me, and I just then I wasn't throwing well off the tee, and just couldn't stay consistent, and didn't really throw the shots that I knew I was capable of, which is a real shame because I love the course and I think that it does set up pretty well for my game, and I really want to be able to go back there and play again because I don't feel like I left a lot out there. So it was tough for that to happen. I ended up, I think, 4th, so I dropped down a little bit, and it was only a matter of strokes to jump back into sort of 2nd place. Hayden shot even both rounds, so he played awesome and super consistent, and did really well there. He just made some clutch putts down the end as well. He couldn't really catch the man, so he would have been tough to beat. But yeah, it was tough. I left feeling pretty disappointed. The next tournament was in April. That was the battle at 7th Brigade Park, and if you haven't seen the practice videos for that, you can go check those out. But I had a good chat with the tournament director and course designer Wade O'Shaughnessy there, and I've got to give a huge shout out to Wade and his family for all the work they put into this tournament. First ever time running a tournament like this, of this scale, and it was absolutely incredible, and that tournament's only going to go onwards and upwards. And I guess while we're shouting out TDs, I got to shout out the ones from the Garden City Open as well. Joel, Kerry, and everyone involved there. To be able to put that event on last minute, having to change venues as well, was super impressive, and it presented a really good challenge even for the top players with the tight OB, the long shots, unique shots. So hats off to those guys as well. Back to the set battle at 7th Brigade Park. I was feeling really good actually going into that tournament. I felt like I practiced it enough. In the warm-up for that one, my body felt great. Body was feeling awesome. I was feeling like loose and relaxed, but when I was doing my just practice throws, it was just so inconsistent. I was just going nose up, lots of things, and body wasn't just feeling comfortable and smooth in the run-up, and it felt a bit off. So and then again, my putting at this stage too was probably at an all-time low. I just didn't have any confidence in my stroke whatsoever, and I just couldn't figure out what it was that was going to make it click. I could be 20 feet away from the basket and just be so nervous that it wasn't going to go in, which is not how you want to be going into when you step up to take a putt. I started off a bit slow, and actually what kind of set the tone for the day, not just the round but the day, was hole 1. It was a 120 meter par 3, so pretty long, and not many birdies were had on that hole, but I did a decent drive, got my upshot close, gave it a little bit but missed, and had a little tap in, and I just had my bag on, had my tripod in my hand, and just was like, yeah, okay, just chuck it in. And I think I hit chains, and it chained out left side, and I just looked at my card mates and was like, what did I just do? So I tapped that in, bogey to start the hole and start the tournament. Just great way to start. I think I kind of started off slow, like got some pars, but then I hit a spot, and actually it happened to be when I was on, I guess you could say, the harder holes, like the par 4s where you had to, commit to a line on your first shot, and then there was, OB around as well. I was actually throwing those holes really well, and some of the holes that played harder for the field I got birdies on. So I strung, I think 4 birdies or so together in a row, which kind of got me going a little bit.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Alrighty.
And the rest of the round was kind of solid. It was a little bit slow. Bogey, birdie here and there. And I think I finished it 3 down for the round, which was okay. I left a lot of strokes out there, obviously, and one thing that really cost me probably 5 or more strokes was my putting. And it was so annoying because I had so many opportunities. So turns out I guess I was throwing the disc pretty well, but I just couldn't convert on the green, which cost me a lot of strokes. Still went into round 2 being in solo second place, I think, only 2 strokes back of Hayden once again. So he was shooting pretty well, and playing, starting to build some momentum off the back of Garden City Open, and made another lead card with Michael, which was awesome. And then we had Keen in there as well, which was really cool. I went back after the round and tried to practice some putting, and it was feeling okay. So I get to hole 1 and throw a good drive, clips the last tree, but actually kicks towards the basket. It was very close, let's just say that. And I'm just like, okay, cool, don't think about it too much, just pop it in the basket. And what did I do?
Josh Morrison.
Hit cage. Just don't get it up, hit cage from like literally a couple of paces away from the basket. And I'm just there like, oh boy, this is what's happening, is it? Okay. The rest of the round was, again, a story of just missed putts from, like, not just, edge of circle, missed some of those too, but just like well inside circle, just easy putts that I should be making every single time. And one of the most unfortunate instances of that was on one of my favorite holes on the course. I can't remember which one it was. It might have been maybe 11 or 12 or something. But through a good drive,
come back in. Yeah,
got really lucky actually to kind of skip off the path, come back in bounds, almost prime spot. Through an approach shot, it got a little, I didn't quite put enough on it. It looked perfect, but it kind of got caught up a little bit early, but it was just still well inside circle, giving me a putt for the birdie, which would have been awesome, going birdie on that hole back-to-back rounds. And I miss low again.
No. Yeah.
Rolls out of bounds. From birdie to like bogey, double bogey. Just things that shouldn't happen. Guys, it was rough. It was rough. Considering how many strokes I lost on the putting green, to finish in a tie for 3rd and be on the podium was still something. It was still a bit of an achievement, so I'm pleased about that. I want to shout out Joe as well. Came storming back from chase card and shot an incredible second round to jump up into second, so awesome work for him. And Michael and I fittingly tied for 3rd, so just again left feeling really dissatisfied and frustrated and disappointed, I think. Coming away from that, I've been really trying to dial in things with the backhand form and the putting in particular. Good news is that literally in the last few days, I've figured something out with my putting and it's been working really well. It hasn't been tournament tested yet under that sort of pressure, but it's feeling so good and it's feeling more like my putt from the end of last year. So that's really exciting, and that's got me feeling better, feeling more confident. And so I'm just going to keep putting the reps in. Still got some fine tuning of my backhand to do. I love competing, and hopefully we'll be able to get a really good result to show you guys here soon. That's kind of the overview of what's been happening. It's been tough because it's such an odd thing in disc golf how one week, one moment, the game can be feeling so good, and that was me at the start of the year. To 1 second, you don't even know really what's changed, and then all of a sudden everything just feels off. And so I know that you kind of go through these ups and downs, and so hopefully I sort of work my way out of it and really settle on things that feel consistent and I feel comfortable with, and the results will start coming from that. But disc golf is a funny thing. I still just want to go out there, have fun, enjoy it. I'm very grateful for being able to play, for people that I get to play with, for everyone of you who is supporting and who's following the journey along. We're going through this together, and I'm super grateful for all of you as well. So that'll do it for today's video. Please leave a comment below if you enjoyed, what you took out of it, whether you've been going through something like this as well, and what you did to get back on the up. So thank you all once again. I really appreciate every one of you. Coming up next is the Gold Coast Challenge down at the Gold Coast. That is in, I want to say, about a month's time, so, or a few weeks time. Very excited. That is always a fun course to go to. Love playing there, so I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully we'll get a practice round for you guys there as well. Stay tuned for that. I hope that you have all had a wonderful day and you can make it great for somebody else, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Dang it. It didn't really get me. It wasn't I don't think I would have got it.